7 college programs that need to pry Deion Sanders from Buffaloes. Even after his first loss as the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, Deion Sanders and his program are still the talk of college football. The head coach has already done wonders for Colorado, and he is completely changing the college football scene. Sanders seems committed to sticking in Boulder and turning the Colorado program around, but because of his immense popularity, revolutionary ways of going about his business, and now track record for winning, the coach is being talked about as a candidate to coach at a bigger program. Sanders was happy coaching at HBCU Jackson State, but he pounced at the opportunity to coach a Power 5 school. While it doesn't appear that Sanders has any interest in coaching in the NFL, it is not like Colorado is one of college football's most prestigious schools. It is very possible Sanders will eventually leave the program for a bigger gig, like he did when he was the coach at Jackson State. This is likely years out, but most coaches take opportunities when they are presented to them. On top of that, Sanders is the top name in college football right now, and any team would be happy to have him leading their football program. Here are 7 college football programs that need to try and pry Deion Sanders away from the Colorado Buffaloes. Florida State. Deion Sanders and Florida State would have to rekindle their relationship to make this potential marriage work. Sanders got his start in the football world as a Seminole. He was one of the best college football players ever while playing for Florida State as a cornerback/returner from 1985 to 1988. During his college playing days, Sanders had 14 interceptions and was the team's best returners in the history of the program. Sanders' legendary career started with Florida State, and it is the program that retired his number 2 jersey. For these reasons, a reunion between Sanders and the Seminoles seems like a good match. However, things aren't that simple. Sanders has seemingly cut all ties with his alma mater. In fact, he recently claimed Talladega College as his alma mater, the school that he graduated from in 2020. Sanders also came under fire from Florida State fans when he was able to convince Travis Hunter to flip his commitment from Florida State to Jackson State. Sanders and Florida State don't seem to be on great terms, so a reunion may be unlikely in the near future. Still, players turned coaches often find success coaching the team they previously played for, and if Sanders and Florida State are able to make amends, he would bring never-before-seen hype to the Seminoles program. Florida. Deion Sanders is known to take things personally. Numerous coaches don't like the way he goes about business. This has motivated coachprime, and it has usually led to success. Sanders is the type of guy to always have a chip on his shoulder, and there may be no better way to get back at Florida State than to coach at an in-state rival. The Gators haven't had the success they are used to over the last decade or so. Billy Napier is only in his second year coaching Florida, but he went 6-7 in year 1 and already has a disappointing loss in 2023. While the team doesn't want to give up on Napier yet, they have had a history of moving on from coaches quickly. Since Urban Meyer left Florida in 2010, they haven't had a coach last for 4 full seasons or more. Moving to Florida would allow Sanders to return to his home state, a state that he has had success recruiting from. Alabama. Nick Saban can coach the Alabama football team as long as he wants. Saban is arguably the greatest head coach in college football history, and he is under contract until 2030. While the team is currently having one of their toughest years under Saban, there is little the coach could do for the program to want to move on. He is that much of a legend. Still, Saban is 71 years old, and at some point, he will be done coaching. When this day comes, Sanders is the only name in the sport that could come close to matching Saban's when it comes to notoriety. A head coaching gig at Alabama would be the most sought-after position in collegiate sports, and Deion Sanders would have to consider coaching in Tuscaloosa if it was an option. Alabama is the nation's top recruiter most years. Deion Sanders could take that to a whole new level. Clemson. Dabo Swinney has been the Clemson coach since the 2008 season, and the team has had a lot of success with him at the helm. However, Clemson is having their worst season since Swinney's early days when he first began rebuilding the program. Swinney has 2 national championships in recent memory, so he is probably safe for now, but an ugly 2-2 start is not the expectation for Clemson football. Clemson has finished as a ranked team in every season since 2010. That is unlikely to be the case again in 2023. The team appears to be headed in the wrong direction, and they haven't had much success without a premier quarterback. Deion Sanders, and everything that is associated with that name, would be Clemson's best bet at rejuvenation if Swinney isn't able to get the program back on track. Notre Dame. Notre Dame has won a lot of football games recently, but they have always lacked that piece to get them over the top. If you need a boost, Deion Sanders is your guy. He has already turned a 1-11 Colorado team into a ranked program. Notre Dame always thrives with their offensive and defensive fronts. Those have been Colorado's biggest weakness so far, yet the Buffaloes still have one of the best offensive powerhouses in football. Coach Prime is the exact type of coach that could bring some extra juice to Notre Dame. Sanders has implemented spread offenses that throw the football down the field a lot at both Jackson State and Colorado. This isn't Notre Dame's forte, but it may be what the team needs to take the next step. Texas A&M. Texas A&M has been one of the main programs talked about as a potential Deion Sanders future destination. Jimbo Fisher has not lived up to expectations in College Station. The program would still owe the coach over $76 million if they were to fire him at season's end, but if the coach doesn't improve the status of the team, Texas A&M may be ready to move on from Fisher sooner rather than later. Last season was the most disappointing during Fisher's tenure. Despite the best recruiting class in the nation, Texas A&M finished with a 5-7 record. Deion Sanders should be at the top of the list for a potential Fisher replacement. Sanders not only played professionally in Texas with the Dallas Cowboys, but he also started his coaching career in the state. His experience coaching at Trinity Christian Cedar Hills, Texas, means he is familiar with the area and would be able to find recruiting success. Oklahoma. Deion Sanders has been on a fast track in his coaching career since its start. He quickly moved past high school coaching to land the head coaching gig at Jackson State. After Jackson State, Sanders moved on to Power 5 coaching with Colorado. The next realistic step on his trajectory would be coaching in the SEC. Oklahoma is making the move to the SEC next season. With that comes heightened expectations and better competition. Brent Venables only won 6 games last year, his first as the Sooners head coach. Things have been better in year 2, but the Sooners should still consider attempting to pry Sanders out of Boulder if he is interested in coaching at an even higher level. Deion Sanders very well may just stick in Colorado. He is building something special in Boulder, and the rebuild is already ahead of schedule. If Colorado isn't his forever home, though, then he will be one of the biggest coaching targets in the history of sports. Shiloh and Shedeur Sanders, 2 of Deion's children, are 2 of the stars on Colorado's roster. He will surely not leave the program if they are still there, and Coach Prime recently suggested that they will be back next year. Even so, there is always something bigger waiting for football's biggest names, and Deion Sanders certainly fits that bill.